Judy. Hello, Don. Hi, Mary. Hi, Sangeeta. Hi, Leonore. There's your daughter. There's Rebecca. Hello. So we are going to begin. Is everyone logged in? Yeah, we're going to begin by saying unofficial, Jumelo, we miss you. We are super excited that we are now out on the road again doing rug events. But do you know what that means when we say we're out on the road again doing rug events? That means that some of us who are normally making the kitchen happen are now down in Louisville, Kentucky, finishing a rug event, which is great until a little tech problem happens. And then the blood starts pumping. And then all of us that are filling in his big shoes, I think Ju has a size 18, 20 shoe, yes. Maybe, okay. So as we're working to fill his shoes, we're realizing that, you know, we maybe don't have the same skills as our dear rug rep, tech person, and camera aficionado, Ju. So let's just have a moment of silence as we are going to try to rub our tummy, pat our head, and make this amazing recipe. Colette, I'm glad you're already drinking. I haven't poured anything because my blood is still pumping since we ran into some last minute tech issues. So thank you as always for joining us. I'm Jenny, and the guy who just ran off camera. Yeah, the guy.
Usually get one little drink.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay, now folks, if you know my husband, he doesn't drink readily. I believe his blood is pumping too. Pumping just a little? Awesome. Well, I'm Jenny, this is Yousaf, and we are part of Bunyaad, which is a fair trade rug company based out of Linnets, Pennsylvania, and also Lahore, Pakistan. We work with over 850 families throughout 100 villages in Pakistan. And you're probably wondering then, what are two rug people doing with you in our kitchen? Well, it's our COVID pirouette. Could you give me my best pirouette? Come on, give me a pirouette pose. All right, that's the pirouette pose, everybody. That's as good as it's gonna get. But it is a way that we sort of came up with it, thanks Rebecca, that over this last year, how could we continue to have all of you be part of the fair trade community, learn more about the artisans that we work with in Pakistan, and still have fun and do it in a COVID friendly, happy way. And I have to say, I love this. I love that so many of you are joining from such diverse areas, which normally I start off with, tell me, where are you all coming in from today? So in the chat field, remember back in the days where I had to tell you where the chat field is? Yeah, no, we're all Zoom aficionados now. So tell me, where are you cooking from today? All right, so, well, I know we have Louisville, Kentucky, Lethbridge, Alberta. I'm in Germany. My goodness, welcome Germany. Arvada, Colorado, Jersey City, New Jersey, Cheshire, England. Wow, somebody's staying up late. St. Louis, Missouri, Middletown, Iowa. Wow. Awesome. You know, I think that's the part. Louisville. I'm really doing good on Louisville. Don't you think there? Worcester, Royersford, Philadelphia, Salt Lake City. Oh, I'm sorry. This is awesome. I know there's been a lot of down parts of this last year, but to me, one of the awesome parts is the way we have been creative about bringing together community. So thank you for being part of our community. Now, before we begin, I do want to adjust my camera because you don't need to see how dirty that section of my kitchen is. There. Yeah, don't ask. But this morning we were making whoopie pies virtually with kids from Dublin to Quebec. So the whoopie pie dirt is behind us. So we want you to sort of not see. Your daughter-in-law is visiting from Lahore. Awesome. And is visiting Lahore currently. Well, awesome. Well,
yeah, she is. She's married to my son. They both live in New York. And she's going to come back, and then we're going to travel to Denver to see my daughter. And yeah, she is not born in Lahore. She was born in South Korea, because
oh my
her
goodness,
parents were, you know, international people traveling all over. And but yeah, there's a chance for me to go to Lahore because I go to India. We are Indians, and I mean, India was partitioned, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Basically, all Indians and Pakistanis are mixed.
It's so true. So
Yeah.
true. Oh, it's so great to have you join us, Serene. And indeed,
Thanks.
folks, as much as we are a large community and we have you sort of all on mute, feel free to unmute yourself or type a question in the chat if you have something. Vanessa, who is amazing, is watching chat on the other side of our screen here, and she's going to be helping me keep an eye on things. Now, before I begin, I do want to thank so many of our fair trade friends who have got us to this point after a crazy year and has helped to promote our monthly Cooking with Bunyaad. Yes, this is something that we do the second Sunday of every month at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But the stores that help us to promote this event, it's not just the stores to us, they're our fair trade family. Without them, we could not keep 850 families gainfully employed. So I just want to take a moment and thank many of them. 10,000 Villages in Cincinnati, Ohio, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in Harrisonburg, Virginia, in Iowa City, Iowa, in Lincoln, Nebraska, in State College, Pennsylvania, Pachamama Market in Troy, Ohio, 10,000 Villages in Souderton, Pennsylvania, 10,000 Villages in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, in Overland Park, Kansas, and our Canadian Fair Trade friends, 10,000 Villages, Cobourg, Ontario, Village Goods in Edmonton, Alberta, Villages Calgary in Calgary, Alberta. And did you know it snowed in Edmonton today?
Oh, I'm not sure.
It's incredible snow. And the society behind the longstanding fair trade store Des Mots Village in Pointe Claire, Quebec. So all these stores that I listed either host an annual fair trade rug event or carry Bunyaad rug inventory year round. We are working to finalize our 2021 rug event schedule. And as I said, we've already started our first event of the year, which is in Louisville, Kentucky at Just Creations on Frankfurt. So if any of you are from the Louisville area, go down and say hello to our friends at Just Creations. But we will be publishing our 2021 schedule really soon as it's finally come together. We've been really hesitant this year. We need to get out on the road. We have so many of our stores we want to reach. But in the end, it's all about being safe. And just the what's the word I want? The disclaimer. Yeah. Yousaf and I are within our COVID bubble, and that is why we are not wearing our masks. Otherwise, outside of our COVID bubble, we are masked. So tonight, today, this evening, this morning, depending on where you are logging in from, we are going to be making Lahori Channay, which I'll be honest with you, I was born and bred here in Lancaster County. We don't exactly have a grand appreciation for chickpeas. But then I married this one, and he took chickpeas to a whole new level. And I hope we can raise the view of chickpeas in your household. We have a 10-year-old, and when he heard what we were cooking today, he goes, "Oh, yes, we're having chana." So and the Brazilian on the other side of the camera. So to me, that's really exciting that we can learn to appreciate things that maybe our own upbringings did not know how to maybe properly cook or to make it really tasty. We're also going to be making some fresh homemade roti, which is not hard to do, but there is a technique involved. So before I get any farther, I just want to go over and say hello to Amr, who has been working hard at the store today in downtown Lidditz. Hey, Amr, are you there? Are you there? Hey, you want to?
Hi, everyone. Yep.
Awesome. So, hey, were you busy today?
Yes, I was really busy today. This was it's
joining us.
yes, it was like so we just closed the doors, so I'm here by myself. So that's hence the mask is off.
Awesome. Well, it's nice, but see, I see you. But now that the mask is off, we can see you didn't shave yet today either. The mask is so handy, isn't it?
Yes, the mask is very handy.
Hey, so Amr, so many of them bought the Lahori bundle, Lahori Channay bundle. And do you mind just showing us what was it? Since I forgot to bring the bundle home, I know there was only 1 or 2 left yesterday when I left. So do you mind just unpacking the bundle? Every month as part of our cooking, we do put together a bundle. It's not necessary to buy the bundle. It just sort of like elevates and makes it more fun. This month,
so we had the Lahori Channay bundle, and there is the Cloud Forest cardamom, That is really good, not only for cooking and also for tea and all the other things. And then we have the chef's soap. That's all about cooking in this bundle.
So that's the
And
double. Uh-oh. All right. I'm gonna come in. All right, well, hey, I do believe we lost Amr. Oh, there you are, Amr. No, you're not.
uh,
All right, hey, Amr, sounds like you're cut out, so we are going to unspotlight you, and I'll tell him the rest. All right, well, what he was gonna say is if you did buy the bundle, just so you know, that double measuring spoon, you can wash it, soap and water. You just want to oil it with some food safe oil like coconut oil or olive oil or something just to keep it really pliable. You want to make it not pliable, really, I don't know, what's the word I want? Really in good condition. How's that? Otherwise, just regular soap and water, clean it, oil it every so often. All right, enough. Thank you for listening to all of our, so you wanted to see the store, but oops, you're not going to see it today because we have tech problems. Yousaf, we have a big day of cooking.
We have a big day of cooking, and I just want to quick say that this chana is one of the ingredient of food that is consumed pretty much every day, and every street corner has its own variety. So even talking to my brother, he said pretty much about 5-6 different places he has a different type of chanas that he likes to enjoy. So everybody has a different recipe. So, but this one is sort of blends everything together and makes a nice type of chana that you can easily enjoy at home and offer to your friends and family.
Is that why when I said I need you to write down the recipe, you kept prolonging it?
Yeah, it's just pretty hard to hone down everything and just, yeah, and plus make it, it's easy to make it here in North America.
All right, and we would also like to give a shout out to Judy Stoltzfus, who was one of the first people who read the recipe and said, I do believe you have a couple typos in there. Did you really mean 5 to 6 cloves of garlic and a half cup of chopped garlic? No, thank you, Judy, for being our editor. Indeed, we are just talking about 5 to 6 cloves, which was in the updated recipe. Otherwise, wow, are we going to need that chef's soap, right? All right, so Yousaf, but we're not going to start with the chana. We are going to start with
the flour, making the dough for the roti.
And this is something your mom would do every
day.
single morning.
Potentially twice a day,
Okay.
generally. So she'll sit there, and it's pretty simple, just the basic ingredients. So nothing. Where's my camera? Sorry.
Vanessa, do you mind doing the down camera?
Here we go. There, good. So she'll basically take the basic flour and just a regular, whole wheat mixed flour. It depends on every day. Every time they had a different mixes, but that's all you need to use.
All right, hold on a sec. We're getting you on the down camera.
Okay.
We are getting you onto the down camera, aren't we? Hold on.
It was on the down camera just seconds ago.
All right, well, keep talking.
Yes.
All right, so everybody, you want to get 2 cups of whole wheat flour into a bowl. Excellent. Thank you, Colette. You're already set.
Perfect.
Mary's all set. Yay. I'm just going to go on the other side. Star anise, how much is not in the ingredients? All right, don't worry, Carol. We'll come back over to the star anise.
Just 2 flours.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
So let's stay on the roti.
Yes.
I'm going to go over on tech side. So
Okay.
you're going to talk your way through
Yes.
telling quantities.
Yes.
All right.
So I'm just using salt. Now, salt is something that you add according to your taste. So I'm just using a small quantity, about less than ½ teaspoon. And again, I said, that's something you can choose how much you want to add to your flour. It's very important that you add some salt to your flour. The next thing is that if everything you have your flour, everything ready, the next thing is you want to have water ready as well. Does everybody have their water? Okay, we'll move on to the next step. So you start pouring some water in slowly and then start mixing your dough. You don't put all your water all at once because you want to make sure that your dough is nicely kneaded, because very important. My mother would take her time, easily like 10-15 minutes, just making sure her dough was nicely kneaded. So make sure you keep kneading your dough.
And actually, a couple years ago, I'm amazed at his mother's diligence always at mixing the dough every morning. And one day I came down in Lahore for breakfast. I came down early, and I said to Rami ji, "Do you mind if I just video you making this?" And she looked at me like, I think the reason her look on her face was sort of like,
Yeah.
"You're videoing me like doing laundry sort of thing. Like this
Yeah.
is a regular task. What is so fascinating about this?" But what I found so fascinating was her diligence in, like you said, mixing the water in at a
Yeah.
very slow, consistent, so that the water really permeated all
Yeah.
through and activated the gluten.
And the funniest thing is, I always knew if my mother made the bread, I could tell that was her bread rather than my sister or somebody else in the same household. Because when, everybody has their own way of making the dough. And it's funny that even at the end result, you'll see that finished product. Now, one other thing I would say to everybody, according to your flour, you may need to change the quantity of water a little bit. So don't worry if you have to add more or add less, but just make sure you get that consistency in the end. Because like today, I sort of have a slightly different flour, and I think I may need a little bit more water for this compared to normally what I would use.
Yeah, atta flour would be perfect.
Yes.
So
So,
also in the follow-up email that I will be emailing you later this week, we will be including both a recording of this class and a link to the video that I captured Yousaf's mom making it, which it's about 8 to 9 minutes
yeah.
of just very systematic, calming, meditative
Yes.
bread and dough making.
Yeah, she would just sit there and just calmly just knead her dough. And that was just like, and she would tell even my sisters all her life, or anybody who wanted to learn, look, you got to be calm and patient and just constantly do this, because otherwise your flour is not going to have the consistency that you need to make the right roti. So just keep kneading it like I'm doing. I just need a tad bit more. I think my water might be okay.
Yeah, so Yousaf, Christine, you read my mind. Christine asks, what should the texture feel like when it is at the point you feel is perfect?
Yeah, so it should be very elastic, like you should be able to stretch it nicely, not too loose, not too stiff. It just needs to be stretched out nicely. So I feel like I'm getting there right now. I shouldn't be adding more water. So just like I said, watch, sometime your flour could very quickly change from looking dry to almost ready to be the right consistency. So in this case, even though I had the right amount of water, I think I was just about.
You're just shy of a cup.
Yeah, so.
But every flour is different, every grind is different. So what I see if I had to describe it,
yes,
you sort of have a Play-Doh-y,
yes,
but a wet Play-Doh.
Yes, a wet Play-Doh.
And the reason we're mixing this up now, everybody, is so that as we start making our chana, your water will absorb in the rest of your flour, and we'll have a much more cohesive dough. Much like when we did pal de queso last month, where we wanted to let the time go by so it could really activate the gluten. Same with this, or I guess with pal de queso, it wasn't the gluten activate the tapioca, but in this case, it's the gluten.
Yeah, exactly. So like I'm doing this and now it's getting ready. I think I just need a little bit of oil now and my dough is pretty much ready to set. I'm just going to add a little touch of oil to it, so then it will be ready to rest. Does everybody have their dough prepared?
Vanessa, I'm going to take the lead here. I'm going to go over and just check on Leonore. Leonore, do I have a thumbs up in your kitchen? Thumbs up in your kitchen, Leonore. Awesome. And this is my favorite, folks. These two cook with us every single month, and I love it. And here's her daughter in Colorado. Thumbs up for you. Excellent. I love how this can bring together families regardless of where they are. This touches my heart. All right, how about you, Pamela? How's it going there? Thumbs up?
Looking good.
Look, oh, that does look good. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So I've just added about a spoon full of oil to like over my dough, and basically it's ready to sit.
Now, does it sit and talk about anything when it's just sitting there? It just sits.
It just.
What kind of oil? We used avocado only because that's what we have. You could use vegetable oil. Olive oil will work. It's just
Butter
going to
would
have
work.
a little bit of more of a strong taste. Butter will work. Ghee would work. And Molly, can you use a large fry pan rather than a Dutch oven? Definitely. Truly, we are just grabbing whatever dish was big and clean. Because like I said, we made whoopie pies earlier today. So add oil in need, Yousaf?
Yes,
Add oil.
just
in-
like basically just want to make sure the oil gets into it. And as you notice, my pot, my dish is pretty clean because all the the starch is now sticking together, and that's your main goal. I barely have any starch on my hands also, and that will sort of give you a perfect consistency for your bread.
All right. So are you just going to keep?
Yeah, no, I think I'm about to put this away. You want to make sure it's covered, so it sort of it gets ready. Kind of give a slight rise also to the dough. So cover it with a cloth, with a dish, or
Or a
however.
gorgeous hand loomed one?
Yeah,
From
so-
artisans in India?
that's perfect. So I'm just gonna quickly rinse my hand. Does everybody's dough is gotten ready?
All right, let's do a quick dough check. Leonore looks happy. I'm just gonna check in our two people that, where are they? There started drinking early, so I just want to make certain. Marge, how are you doing? Marge is off. Oh, everything's good in yours. Excellent. How about Don and Judy? Are you guys doing well? Thumbs up. Oh, Yousaf, look at Don and Judy's.
Oh, wow, that's perfect.
Oh, that's perfect. Wow, look at all those baskets in your kitchen. That's awesome. I don't know. This is like the best of like being able to be in all these different kitchens at the same time. Excellent. All right. So now back over to our kitchen.
Yes.
Mr.
So the
Yousaf.
next step, get your oil. Do you have your oil ready?
They have their oil ready.
Yes, perfect.
They are prepared.
So turn your stove on. You got your pot on the stove. I turned on my stove already for your knowledge, just to get my pot ready and nice and warm. I sort of know how much my oil is going to be based on the quantity described.
Okay, well, hold on. Yeah, this is the epitome of why I love writing down your recipes.
Yes.
Love.
Yeah.
All right, so you said
Yeah.
a half cup of oil,
Yeah.
but only start with a quarter
Quarter,
cup. Okay, so
And then
quarter
dry.
cup of oil, and he added it into the pan, quarter cup. I love how you measure. Awesome. That's how we measure at most of our things, which is why it's really hard when we have to write down the recipe. Because, well, just because.
But it is a quarter cup.
All right, so
I
quarter
use
cup,
this exact pot for cooking something like that.
and you have your pan on medium high.
Yes, I
All right.
have a medium high. Get your base, nicely covered, just so, because once the onions go in, the oil needs to be nicely spread because the onions need that oil to cook it.
All right, so Yousaf, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read the recipe that you wrote back to
Yes,
you.
yes.
All right, so next step, my love, is once the oil is warm, add the onions
Yeah.
and cook until light brown.
Yes.
Then, after
Yes.
light brown, you will then add the black and green cardamoms. Don't worry if you can't find the black cardamoms. We'll talk about that. We had a chat about black cardamoms and how hard it is to find them in certain places.
Yeah, and that's okay. It's only what they require, but you can adjust to your local reality. So whatever.
All right, so
Okay.
let's start with the onions. So you're gonna throw them in once the oil is warm.
The oil is getting warm on mine, so if everybody has their oil ready, please go ahead, put your onions.
Oh, I know you. That's something we're gonna talk about, I think, next month. The importance of wood. All right.
So just make sure you stir your onions nicely so the oil kind of wraps in around all the onions, because the onions needs to cook a little bit in the oil. So it's important that your onions get nice and brown, because that's when they add a flavor to overall your dish. And onions have a very distinct flavor and very much the key ingredient for Pakistani cooking.
Well, and that's also why, we laughed when we put together this month's bundle and we included the fair trade lemon soap, because truly, once you're done with this, Yousaf comes in to give me a hug and it's like, whoa, honey, onion, ginger, garlic going on. Now, as much as, I do find that sort of a nice smell. The lemon soap really does sort of help to cut that, or rub your hands on lemon, or
Just a
little bit more?
Just a spoon.
Why are you doing that?
Just because it could be the quantity of onions that I cut might be a little bit more than I had said. So I feel like just about a spoon full of oil would be good for the onions, because you want to get your onions nice and fried,
Now, folks, I see so many names that I've seen before, and I see a lot of new names that I haven't seen before. And I'm just curious, sometime over the cooking, I'd love if you put in chat, how did you hear about this crazy couple that decided to talk to you about fair trade and rugs from their kitchen? I'd love to know how you found out about this Cooking with Bunyaad. Have you been into a fair trade store in the US or Canada? Did you just happen to find it on Eventbrite? Did your sister tell you that this is the thing you need to do on a Sunday afternoon or evening or morning, or depending on where you are? But just love to find out. My sister. Thank you, Melissa. Good sister.
Just a heads up, you have all your spices ready, especially your dry spices that need to go in. Just keep them handy, because the onions, depending on your heat, and the onions could change their color very quickly. So that's why you got to have everything ready, and hence why I have everything sitting in the plate ready.
Would this be hence why we opened the kitchen 5 minutes late?
Yes, it's a combination of things that I was like finding a couple ingredients a little missing there. The other addition I did forget to add cloves earlier, but you can choose or not have there. If you want to add cloves are very traditional. Just 6-7 cloves in there would be great. If you have a powder, that's fine too. But just add a little cloves, add a nice aroma to the dish.
But you're saying just get it onto the plate.
Yeah, just get it onto the
So
plate.
all you did was you measured out your
Yes.
spices
Yeah.
onto the plate. It looks so pretty.
Yeah.
And
Do
just
we
don't
have the
sneeze.
recording going on? I just want to make
Yes,
sure.
we do.
Okay. 'Cause
I turned it on 20 minutes ahead of time
Okay.
when we started having tech
the
problems.
ones we had forgotten, so I just want to make sure this time we didn't forget that.
All right, so how are your
Okay.
onions coming?
So my onions should be ready coming in.
You need a hot pack?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you. It's just you want to keep onion check. Like I said, they go from not looking ready to very quickly ready. I'm sure you cooked with onions. And recently, having watched some of the Italian cooking from one of the series that Stanley Tucci is doing, it's amazing how many cultures use onions or tomatoes and very similar ingredients. And also surprising how much came from the eastern part of the world. I was shocked to see that Italy did not have use of tomatoes till 1740 in their cooking. It's only after 1740 they start using tomatoes. And that surprised me the most, because here we think the Italian food has tomato as the core ingredient of their cooking. But it's only after 1740 that they start using that. So, it gives you an idea how much has been used in the rest of the world. And the eastern part of the world is well known for, coming up with their spices. I'm just going to give my onions a little bit more time because they're a little on the green side.
All right, so Yousaf, just to catch up with
Yeah.
some of the questions. Number one, open the green cardamom or throwing them in whole?
I just cracked open them. You can use with powder or whole. just lightly crack them.
Okay, so lightly cracking
Yeah.
them, basically taking
Yeah.
it and take a spoon
Yeah,
and just
just
whap
to-
it
yeah,
open.
just-
But you're gonna throw in the whole pod because your taste is not only in the little cardamom seeds on the inside, but also in the green.
Exactly.
But your black cardamom, you're not going to be cracking open.
Nope, they're
Alright.
gonna be the whole thing.
All right, and don't worry if you don't
Yeah.
have black cardamom, you will be perfectly fine. It will taste still absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
But if you can ever get your hands on black cardamom, it is a really fun spice to cook
Yeah,
with.
it does have a very distinct taste. You'll be surprised.
And canned tomatoes, most definitely, you can use canned tomatoes. But Christine is wondering, can she just throw in the liquid all at the same time, or should she reserve that for using
No,
later?
everything throw in.
Okay, everything throw in.
Yeah, when it comes to tomatoes, you gotta throw everything together.
All right, canned or fresh,
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
canned or-
Whoa, you are sizzling.
So,
All right.
so just check your onions, get them nicely stirred because you wanna cook them evenly.
Here, here.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Oh, Anne
Actually,
Marie,
just-
I so agree with you. Our son is learning world history through cooking, because there is so much to be learned, even just about cultures that melded together, but now we think is separate, but they truly aren't that separate. There's just now stupid places that they've drawn borders that really didn't need to be borders. We are all one world.
Yes. I think if anything, this pandemic has made us realize that we live in the same world rather than the boundaries and languages that divide us. So
All right.
I would say,
All right. So how are your onions doing there, man?
the onions are getting ready. So I would say now you might want to start adding your,
All right. So your next step, you said
yes,
add black and green cardamom,
yes.
your bay leaves, which you don't have there. I'll get them.
Oh,
Star anise, cinnamon stick, garlic, and ginger.
Yes.
Stirring occasionally until they become brown, which will not be that very long. I'll get you your bay leaves.
Yes,
All right.
okay.
So add everything in.
Does everybody have their stuff ready, folks? Like gotten into your pot there?
It smells so good.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what the beauty of these spices is. The whole idea of these early, that when you add to your onions, it quickly allows the spices to release their flavor. But sometimes some other spices might take over. But this allows the fresh aroma. It also takes away the onion smell, that the negative onion smell. It just gives you the positive smell of onions.
Sorry, you do have a great question. How much star anise? Yousaf, you didn't write
Two.
that. Where is that? Oh yeah, you do. It's
Yeah.
2 star anise pods. So 2 flowers. And when do we put in the cloves, Yousaf?
Right now,
Right now.
Yeah.
How many cloves?
about 5 to 6. I already,
5 to 6. There's your bay leaves.
Say leave, please.
Did you want? You know what? Throw another one in for good measure.
That's fine.
All right.
2 is good enough, and it doesn't hurt to have a third one.
All right. So
Yeah, you want to tell them about our bay leaves? We had a plant in our house, and we actually grew the plant, and then that's what we preserved. So if you end up with a plant in your house, even if it lasts about a year or two,
look at that.
it does give you enough bay leaf for the next 5 to 10 years.
Okay, that's pushing it.
Well,
5 to 10 years if you're not cooking.
yeah, but this is like what we did 5 years ago, and it's still going. So, because it's not every dish that you cook, you use bay leaves in, but the bay leaves are an ingredient that gets used both in, from Eastern food to Western food. So it's a very common ingredient. How are your onions looking like? Can anybody highlight their onions?
Let's see your onions. Mary, how are your onions coming? Ooh, they look good, Mary. They look real nice. All right, let's check out somebody else's onions. Pamela, I see your onions right there. Ooh, they're looking perfect.
Looking good.
All right, everyone who's not cooking, are you getting hungry? Because I think we should all have like ooh, wow, Colette, that looks nice. Looks real good.
When do we add the ajwain or the coriander seeds?
I would say if you given the rest of this stuff about a couple of minutes, now this is a good time to add those as well.
Okay, thank
So
you.
you basically, any of your dry stuff, that's what you're adding, like other than the peppers. And your turmeric also. So first you add all your brown, green stuff, that is fresh herbs. You can also add some, we have oregano, it was supposed to be the oregano buds we have.
I love how you.
Yeah,
cook.
no, I have it. I
Do
have
you?
it there. Yeah, but I just want to make sure, because we have the oregano buds in there. I just want to make sure that everything that is dry, it goes in. So this is where we're just only going to cook it for just about a minute or so, and then we're going to start adding our tomatoes into it.
All right. I don't know. How many of you like struggle when one person, oh yeah, Yousaf, what is ajwan? Can you explain that?
Ajwain is that's a good question. You caught me there for a second. Ajwain is it's designed,
Coriander seed.
yeah, it's designed for basically keep your stomach very healthy. Gives your digestive system an extra boost. So it's all to boost your digestive system, basically. So-
And Yousaf, the difference between, I'll let you add your tomatoes because your
Yep.
stuff is getting dark, and
Yep.
I'll throw some of these other
Yeah,
questions.
so add your tomatoes, folks, because you don't want your onions to start burning. Oh, did we?
Did you what?
Oh, yeah.
You didn't add your garlic, man.
Yeah, so let's
Add your garlic.
Yeah.
So hey, folks, this is like perfect. Oops, did you forget to add something? Don't worry,
Yeah.
so did the chef.
Yeah.
So if you haven't added your garlic and your ginger, add it now.
Onion, actually, tomatoes are perfect, addition to give you that room for any mistake or forgetting, because tomatoes will add enough moisture, so it would lengthen your time. So you do want your garlic and ginger to sort of get sauteed. So this is the perfect time to get that done.
And Francisca, indeed, you could use cinnamon leaves instead of bay leaves. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
It is only recently that we started carrying cinnamon leaves in our store. Otherwise, it is quite hard to find. We are using bay leaves only because I forgot to bring the cinnamon leaves home. But bay leaves or cinnamon leaves would be amazing. Turmeric doesn't get added late yet. Pretty soon. Just give us a minute. And yes, we are going to be making ours with meat. So no, we didn't add it yet. And what is silk chili? Silk chili is actually a type of chili from Turkey. Let's see this. All right. It is a variety that it's not terribly spicy, but it actually used to be cleaned using silk ropes to clean it, and so hence it got known as silk chili. It's a very delicate chili. Yes, you could use Aleppo. Definitely, Aleppo would be the perfect substitution. Another one could just be a simple cayenne if that's what you have.
Okay.
All right, so Yousaf, in your instructions,
Yes, I have it.
add the remaining spices minus the paprika and blend it into a stew. And if you are adding meat, add your protein to the sauce now and cook 5 to 6 minutes until
Yes.
brown.
So get your, other than paprika, everything, please get that in. And the reason you don't do the turmeric, the peppers and other things right away is because you want to give your other spices room to sort of blossom and release their oils and their flavors. So that's why you don't want to do those things early. So you always wait for those things till the end. I'm just making sure all my spices go in there rather than the right quantity happens for everything.
I love how we all have helpers in our kitchen. Sangeeta has her helper busy pounding and cooking. Hello, yes, I'm looking at you. Thank you so much for joining us. It's really great to have you. And wow, does everyone's onions look like that?
Looking great. Yeah, just make sure you constantly stir your onions, both for so something doesn't burn in one area.
And indeed, you could use crushed chili for the silk chili. And could you use with fish? What type of fish would I recommend? Boy.
I would use a little meatier fish.
Yeah.
Your tuna would do well, your carp would do well, not salmon, because salmon doesn't take very long to cook. So some of your meatier fish would do better.
With or without skin?
Without skin.
Without skin. All right. So now, is it time to add, you're gonna add it with meat?
Yes, so it's time to add meat. So
Right
I
here?
have my meat ready to go in. Does everybody have their meat or any protein that they're putting in ready?
All right, so Gloria, tell us where you're from, because dear Gloria is saying, Sai, I'm not cooking today and this is making me hungry. So like, we need to see if there's someone in Gloria's area that can share some food.
Yeah.
Gloria, where are you from?
Lethbridge, Alberta.
Lethbridge, Alberta. Oh, we know it well. We
The
know it
Windy
well.
City.
I believe I've probably met you there at one time or another.
I believe you
Yes.
have.
The Windy City. I remember people telling me, oh, this is the Windy City. I'm thinking, no, I came from Chicago. I flew from Chicago, and that's the Windy City. No, I realized in April, you guys get these strong winds. And I remember walking out of the store, just like going to like 3 doors down, and we were walking like this. I never had that feeling before. I would have never imagined that Lethbridge will have that kind of a strong winds.
All right, so just a quick
And
question.
it's windy all the time.
It is, okay.
But do you have snow?
Not right now, no. But we had some a couple days ago, so
Oh, wow. Okay.
those winds kind of melt the snow quite a bit.
Oh my
wow.
gosh. Well, hey, Yousaf, I have a couple people asking if they're not adding meat. It's
Yes.
not time to add the beans yet, or it is?
Just wait for, yeah, just.
Oh, no, because their stuff's ready.
Other stuff is, well, how about yogurt? We haven't added yogurt yet. See, you're gotta get your sauce ready.
All right,
So-
so hold up on the beans. Maybe
Yeah.
turn down your stove just a little bit. So if you're
Yeah.
not adding meat, just dial back your temp on your pot
Yeah.
just for a tad. And we'll wait and catch up till,
And your red lentils actually go first before your beans go. Beans are sort of the last ingredient that you put in. So I'm just giving my meat just a minute or two to cook before I start putting yogurt in there.
all right, so I'm gonna read you the next step so
Yes.
that you don't have to put on your reader glasses.
Yep.
Remember
sorry.
back in the days, you didn't
Yeah.
wear reader glasses?
Yes, I do need my readers, and that's where sometimes I get, you know.
Okay, I'm
I
reading it
see.
to you. Shush.
Yes, so, yeah.
Once the meat is started to cook, add the red lentils,
Yeah.
add 1 cup of yogurt and 2 cups of water, and to continue to cook on medium to medium high heat. Stir and cook for 10 minutes until well blended.
Yes.
All right, so that's just red lentils.
Just, okay, yeah, that's just red lentils.
All right, so
I just
Are we
made my
ready?
meat. Yeah, we're ready to add the yogurt.
okay, so you're adding your
Yogurt,
1 cup of yogurt.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if it's full fat or half fat,
doesn't matter.
could be Greek yogurt.
Doesn't matter which yogurt you choose.
One of these next times, I think we're going to talk about making your own homemade yogurt. It is super easy and you need nothing other than a thermometer. You don't need fancy doohickeys. So we'll talk about that, but not this time, but we are going to do that pretty soon. What are you doing there?
I just washed my
Oh, how
yogurt.
sweet. All right. Now with the 1 cup of yogurt, you are adding, Yousaf, 2 cups of water and your red lentils.
Yeah, so first stir your yogurt, mix it around, just give it a, half a minute cook, and then you're gonna add water. It just let everything, get in there first and have their own sort of a presence surrounding everything.
So Anne Marie, where are you cooking from? So dahi is actually like the Urdu or Hindi name for yogurt. Is the water we add, no, wait, so Christine, is the water added the water we save from the garbanzo beans?
You can choose
Could be.
that now, or I don't know who has that, and how much of that moisture do you have still with you?
All right, so it can either be fresh out water like I just handed
Yeah.
you, or it could be water that you saved from the beans.
Yeah, the bean water definitely will bring in the flavor. So you want to add, you want to add that regardless. So depend how much you have. So I'm just going to add a little bit of the water here.
That's
What
two
is
cups. That's 2 cups.
Oh,
Would I thwart your recipe and
Yeah.
not? Yeah. How many of you cook with your spouse?
I'm going to do half and a half.
No,
by-
with the yogurt curdle when heated, no, not at
You'll be
all.
surprised. It would disappear in no time. It's
Anne
horrible.
Marie, I'm jealous. You're in Los Angeles. I can get anything I need for any cuisine. That is awesome.
That's perfect.
It-
We're in Los Angeles.
We will be out in your neck of the woods in June and July, where we will be doing rug events at 10,000 Villages, Redondo Beach, 10,000 Villages, Pasadena, and a church in Manhattan Beach, as well as in San Pedro. Yousaf is going to be the envy of all of us and spend most of his June and July in California. So we're going to try not to hate him. That sounds like an awful lot of fun.
I'm in
Uh,
Marina Del Rey. So Redondo and Manhattan are not too much south of us.
Yeah.
Well, you will have to come and say hello.
I guess
to me.
so. I guess so.
Yeah,
Who knows? He might even be cooking from there. Inventing.
you never know.
I'm just gonna add Colette's dish going on there. That looks great, Colette. Colette, did you add your turmeric? Turmeric? Okay, excellent. All right, just wanted to check. That looks wonderful. Yousaf,
Yes. So
you're cooking for, did you add your lentils?
I'm going to, that's what I'm just about to do.
Oh,
I'm
here.
draining water.
You're draining the lentils,
Yeah. That's all.
and you're gonna add your red lentils into that mix. Then you're gonna stir that up.
And the red lentils are sort of what creates the little thickness in the overall beans, because beans otherwise tend to stay, kind of separate for about 24 hours or maybe at least a few hours for sure. So the red lentil helps to give the base.
All right, so you're gonna stir and cook that for 10 minutes or until well blended. Mix it all in, and you only soak those red lentils for not long.
Yeah, about 12 hours maybe at the most.
Hours?
I don't know exactly because it was after your
Huh,
other cooking that I.
this explains your 45
Yeah.
minute differential on mine.
Well,
No, you
I-
soaked them for the last like 35, maybe
Yeah,
40
something like that.
minutes.
It's just I've been getting ready because this kitchen was making whoopie pies
I
today.
know. We'll talk about whoopie pies in a
Yeah.
little bit. That has nothing to do with Pakistani
Yeah.
cooking, but equally tasty.
Yeah.
So split red lentils, yes, split red lentils, which ironically are something that cook up yellow by the time they're done. So everybody, if you want to be put on your lid, cook up and get that into a nice stew. What I thought would be great to do while we are letting everyone's pots simmer is, as I was saying, like this is, or as you were saying earlier, this is a dish that you can find on every street corner in Lahore. You can find in every street corner in a village. Can you just describe, like, when we talk about a village, we talk about the village of Pointe Claire, Quebec, but then we talk about the village of Darrenwallah, where your grandpa grew up, where your dad grew up. Talk about, like, what is the size of a village, and what are we talking in terms of like a village center?
So a village in Pakistan could be anywhere from 100 homes to 10,000 homes. And it depends how old the village is and what the economy of the village look like. Some village kind of survive for 2,000 years, and some don't survive for more than 100 years. But generally, a village that is 1,000 years old, it's still considered new, and that's the village my family's from. But in the villages, people do have a central area where they have these massive banyan trees, the poplar trees where people sit, and that's where they bring in all the different your people spinning their wool, getting ready to make their rugs, to also have a social time, as well as the marketplace to selling these fresh ingredients that grow within their community. So it's everything happens in that village square. And just recently, in the last 3-4 days, my uncle from the village sent pictures of their community meeting. And it's just, right after Easter, they're having this like get together, and it's the same tree. If I can get my hands on a picture that was taken 100 years ago, it would not be any different, because I remember hanging on those trees as a kid, visiting my grandparents, people doing the exact same thing. My grandfather sitting with his brothers, his cousins and others, sitting playing cards, and you'll have like 4 different groups of people, different age groups. They're all playing cards and chit-chatting politics, community things. Elders are like on their charpais, even taking naps. So those village squares do, have
Traditions, traditions.
breed traditions.
So no, your fresh coriander is not going in. And indeed, your pot is covered. And yes, they're eating cards, chess, gup shup, you name it. And I think that's when we talk about all of our artisans working and living in their home communities with the looms located inside their homes. It gives increased opportunity for women to be working on these looms. And it allows for people to develop their home communities. Like here in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, our communities are small. I grew up here. And if we would not have businesses coming to Lancaster County, there wouldn't be much of a county. And so with Bunyaad, with all of our looms located inside village homes, it really is helping to develop these village communities so that this artistry and tradition and food culture stays. And no, OT, the yogurt will not curdle when heated. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It will work out. Now, while we're cooking, we got 10 minutes, maybe now another 8. Do you know that the rugs we're talking about take over a year to produce? I can't show you all that. You'd be sleeping by the time I'm done. And well, actually, we'd all be a year older, but we have smushed rug making into 2 minutes. If you've joined us before, yes, it's the same 2 minutes that you saw last time, but I'm always amazed. And when I see rug making up close and personal, there's always something new I take from it. So one of the things that I'd like you to do is, as you're watching the video about rug making in 2 minutes, it's not a year and a half, in 2 minutes, I'd like you to tell me, what is your favorite part or most amazing part of rug making? So I'm now going to become the tech person. Just one moment. Share my screen. And
a hand-knot Bunyaad rug goes through many hands and many steps. From spinning and dyeing the wool, to designing, painting, and translate the rug design into a written system called talent, allowing the artisans to read the correct amount of knots and collars to tie into a rug. They start by setting up the loom with vertical threads called a warp. Artisans will then work on the rug, putting 1 knot at a time, creating rugs with hundreds of knots per square inch. One of these rugs can take up to a year and a half to complete. Generally, one artisan will call out the design to everyone working on the loom, in an amazing synchronized knotting flow. They would then secure the rope with horizontal threads called weft, and pack each row pile with a comb-like tool called the punja. The rug is then cut off the loom and taken for cleaning. First, torching the back of the rug to get rid of the wool fuzz, and then washed several times with soap and bleach. This process alone will take several days to guarantee a nice, clean rug. During the finishing process, the rug is sheared to its desired length and checked to assure its quality and look. This process includes blocking, stretching, and applying neem on the back of the rug, moth-proofing it for life. Once the rug is finished, the fringes are tied to secure the rug. A quality rug can be made anywhere by anyone, but it takes time, quality materials, and skilled adult hands. Fair trade puts all of this together, improving artisans' lives and bringing high-quality crafts to your home.
So are you all ready to make your own rugs now? Yeah, I didn't think so. I think to me, that's like, for me, watching rug production in Pakistan, and we go to Pakistan up until this year, we were usually in Pakistan at least once a year. Yusuf's usually there 2 to 3 times a year. But the part that always gets me is the burning. I can't tell you how many times we would be there making the videos and capturing everything, and all of a sudden they'd light that natural gas flame, and I go, maybe an explicative you don't necessarily want on a video showing to everybody, but it just was amazing to see the whoosh of flame go up and to know that that was just being used to burn the back of wool fuzz. He was saying, Anne-Marie, applying the neem. It's a neem paste, and that naturally moth-proofs something. Yousaf, just talk a bit, hold on, quick check on your pot, and then I want you to tell me about what your mom did with neem leaves.
So as you can see, my chicken and the lentils are cooking nicely. All my spices are, all blending in nicely. You can smell the aroma of all the different ingredients coming together. If you don't have the meat, don't worry. I mean, you'll still get the same aroma, of course.
And can they add their chickpeas now?
Yes, if you're only cooking vegetarian version, yes, chickpeas can go in.
And what if they're adding with meat? Or what if they have their meat? Why can't everybody add their chickpeas all at the same time?
Just because with the meat, you need to cook the meat a little
Or
longer.
can't they cook with the chickpeas? Oh, because they'll get much.
Yeah, otherwise the
Okay.
chickpea get like totally, cooked together,
All
turn
right.
into a paste.
So if you are without meat, add your chickpeas at this point.
Yeah.
If you're with meat, let your meat cook just a little bit longer. And all right, so what I was saying, let's
And-
say, Yousaf,
And
what?
if you're gonna add chickpeas now, add your water from the chickpeas also with them right now as well. So any water that you save from chickpea boiling, add that as well too.
All right, and if they didn't save water, they can just
Then
add extra
Just add
water.
extra water.
And one person said, well, what if could I add chicken broth to add more flavor? Chicken
yeah,
broth would be
You
good
can-
if
chicken
you're,
broth is good. You can personalize it how you want it, but in the end, the consistency is what you're looking for, and that's what the way we cook. That's what you're trying to achieve. Flavor could be personalized.
all right, and neem leaf.
Yes,
How would your mom use the neem leaf? So it's
Mm.
naturally moth-proofing
exactly.
the rug, but what was it doing to your mother's grains?
So my mom would store both the rice and wheat for the rest of the year in order to make sure that it's organic. She would use neem branches about this long, and she'll get them every year about, let's say she'll have a bundle, it's very accessible there. So you just get fresh of those. And then as she'll store the grain, she'll keep putting layers in between. But also for like any winter like blankets, you use the same thing. You fold them and you put the neem branches in between. That protects from moths and everything else.
And for us, we do some amount of gardening, sometimes more, some years, less other years. But we often will get the neem oil and put it into a spray bottle and then spray neem oil on our plants and such. And that really keeps out the nasty little animals that are not supposed to be eating. Melissa added 2 cups of garbanzo water with the lentils. Should I add more water than that? Melissa, do you have your camera on? Let's check
Yeah,
you.
just to check the consistency.
Melissa, you are where?
Because you don't want to get too thick. It needs to be like
Ah.
stewy
There's Melissa.
mix in the end.
All right, let's get Melissa here on camera. Hi, Melissa. It's good to see you. Let's see how your stove is cooking.
Yeah,
Yousaf, that
looking good.
add more.
Yeah, I would add a little bit more water. Yes, I would add it easily a cup more, and let me see it, just because you don't want to get too thick. You want them, because eventually the beans will soak up moisture. So even if it's a little moisture, don't worry about it. Within a couple of hours, it would dry down, like if the beans will soak up extra moisture.
All right, Mr. It's
Yeah,
time for us to add our
fine.
beans.
Yes.
Because like people are getting hungry
Yes.
and we gotta make some roti yet.
Yes.
All right.
So I kept my extra water right with the beans. So that's going along with the beans now.
Vanessa, could we have the camera down below there? Excellent. All right, so you added everything in.
Everything in, because I just boiled everything together. And at this point, you want to give a nice stir, just to make sure that everything is nicely comes together. And what I'm assessing, I might need to add a little bit more moisture yet, just because of the chicken and everything. This will be pretty much the end result that where you would be, your beans will be ready. So as you can see the beans here. I'm going to add a little bit more water to it, about a half a cup.
All right, so Yousaf, you have these chilies.
Yes.
Can they soon go in? Because they're looking like they want
No,
to. They can't. They're getting close to the pot.
They
They're getting
are
close to the
nope,
pot.
They go at the very end.
All right, all
They
right.
are garnished. They're not the heat.
And everybody, you asked, a couple of you asked, like, what do you mean by a green chili? And the funny thing is, when you go to a Pakistani or Indian grocery store, a green chili is a green chili. You just get chilies. So for anyone that has maybe more botanical skills than we do, what type of chili is that? Yeah, green, right? I know. If you have any ideas, I'd be happy. We do, Zareen, these classes on the second Sunday of every month at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we will be doing the recipe reveal for next month very shortly. It is going to be on Mother's Day, and it will be geared toward having a lovely dinner cooked for those in your household, be that your mother or something you can drop off for your mother, or perhaps you can do like Rebecca and Leonor do, and they cook together remotely.
So here, just to make sure you can see, there's enough moisture on top of my beans. You can see some beans, but not hardly any. So just make sure you give a little cover to the beans to begin with before you cook it down. So your beans needs to have a little moisture on top.
All right, so what we're going to do, Yousaf, to sort of facilitate,
Yes.
we're going to move that over to another burner, okay? And you have your hot pots. There you go.
Thank you.
And let's make your tori. So that can be ready to go. No, your
Curry. Oh yeah, that's only when this is ready.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you don't get that. That's like the last minute step, because your oil, your 30 part takes a minute. As soon as your oil is warm enough or hot, you want to put the paprika in, and it goes in on the top.
Okay, so Marge, don't worry. If you chopped
Yeah.
your green chilies, you just are not going to want to add all 6 of them unless you are a hot and spicy girl. Then you want to add all of them. But by keeping them whole, you're adding the essence of the pepper
The oil,
without
the
the
flavor.
oil, without adding the heat, because so much of the heat is in those seeds or is in the inside. So you might just not want to add all of them, but don't worry if you chop them.
Yeah, if you chop them, just reduce the quantity. Or even now, if you wash all the seeds, it'll take care of that.
All right,
So-
so what we're gonna do here is begin to make the roti there, Yousaf,
Yes.
because you know what your mother would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Your roti has to be ready when your stew is ready, everything's served up hot.
Yeah,
So you're just gonna use a fry pan today.
I'm just
not
gonna
the
use,
tava.
since I think everybody has their fry pan, they'll use the fry pan. So I'm gonna try to make sure I do something similar.
So add Thai bird's eye green chilies. That's the most authentic taste for you. That is very true. Can you can add, just split the chilies, bring them out the flavor, but hot chopped chilies will make it too hot. Zareen, thank you. It is really nice to have a assistant cook. Zareen, I forget again, where are you sitting right now?
I'm in St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, excellent. Well, it's nice to have St. Louis, Missouri with Pakistani cooking skills in our kitchen at the same time. So thank you. It is really nice to have someone else helping out.
Well, thank you too. And I love to cook. So I cook all kinds of Indian and Pakistani food.
Oh, excellent. Well, hopefully you can keep joining us.
Thank you. I will. And what did you say about the date? I didn't catch you,
It's
please.
always the second Sunday of the month at 4 p.m. Eastern time.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right. So you switched
I
on me.
didn't
now.
know, I just brought it out
Okay.
because then we can choose. you
All
know.
right. So let's show them. Let's
Yeah.
do the down camera.
So-
So show them the tava.
So this is what my mother would use. It's a flat pan, it's a metal, and basically you use your tava for decades. I mean, tavas pretty much stay in the family for a long time. And people would even cook their eggs on it. You can cook just about everything on it. So, I remember one time my mother made a pizza on top of that too, just because the oven wasn't doing well. So she figured out a way to make a pizza right here on one of these metal pans. So that was a pretty amazing thing that she did. So
All right,
I was
sir.
quite impressed.
Form up that roti, man.
Yep.
Your mother would be saying, hey, let's talk more cook.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I'm getting your flour.
Yes.
There you go.
So get your, basically your flour ready. The best way to get the consistency and everything figured out is take your dough, make a nice roll like this, and then basically divide your dough into, the quantity or the size of bread you want to make.
Now, you are already, thanks to your darling wife,
Yes.
you are already heating up your tava. You want to have it sort of like at a medium high, like you want it
Yeah.
fairly hot.
Yes, you want it fairly hot to begin with, and then you'll turn it down because your tava does get pretty hot. So depending on what you're using, just make sure you adjust your cooking level or the heat level.
Can you move the camera?
Yeah, sorry. Hold on a sec. Down to Vanessa, there we are. Thank you for asking, everybody. Again, I love the world cooking community and understanding that us cooking aren't necessarily the tech camera folk. I just want you to know, if you did cook with us last month, currently our tech services are being done by our chef from last month, Vanessa, who delighted us all with pão de queijo and the perfect cup of Brazilian coffee. So isn't she multi-talented yet? And if you come into our Lidditz location, Lidditz, Pennsylvania, you'll get to see her artistry, as she's also our queen of VM and our master of all things accounting. So how's that for multitasking?
Yeah.
I know.
We just like to do everything in our organization.
Try.
Yeah.
All right, so Yousaf, you are making these into nice little round balls, nice
Yeah.
little round flats.
Yes.
All right, so tell us your secret there on the roundness.
Yeah.
Because that's quite a talent.
Yeah. So basically, take your palm and just give it a round circle there. That makes it nice. Bring everything together. Just keep any broken edges like this to inside, because eventually when you flatten it, that would sort of break the your chapati. So you want to make sure that you bring that in the middle rather than, to the end. So
I'll never forget when I first started making roti with your mom. And I could almost hear her sort of like, oh gosh, it's good you married my son, because if, otherwise you're not making a round roti, we would have never married you off.
I just want you to know, it took me a long time to make this chapati because it is an art, even though it's such a simple thing, but indeed it's an art. And I don't know how many times I made a call to my mother to ask a few basic questions. And yet you would think like, this should not take much. Now, of course, some of you who've
No,
done
don't keep talking. You
Yeah.
gotta tell them what you're doing.
I'm just making it a nice round example for everybody.
Oh, okay, but you're
Just
now
show.
using the rolling pin.
Yeah, so I'm using the rolling pin because for me, my mother would not necessarily use a rolling pin, but I need to do that because that helps to even out all ends. That's very important with your chapati because if the edges are thick, they would unevenly cook. So it's very important that you get that rounded. And having a round chapati, is very, very important. It's like, it's almost like, you know, if you don't know how to make a round chapati, it's like you haven't learned the art of making Pakistani food or, you know, South Asian food.
All right, Christine, I was just about to ask him. The diameter is approximately 9 inches or 23 centimeters. And your thickness is not terribly thick. I would say maybe, 2 centimeters, 2 millimeters, sorry, not centimeters. Yeah, you're very thin.
And you can adjust to the size. I just happened to take the flour and made it very thin because I wanted to make sure that it cooks nicely all the way around. So mine is ready to go.
Now, you have nothing on that tava.
Nope.
Just it's hot.
Just the plain. But shake off all the dry flour from it because that burns very quickly. So it's important that you shake that off before you put that on the tava or in your pan.
Sort of like a large flour tortilla. Yes, indeed, Carol. But definitely a large flour tortilla. All right, so Yousaf, show us. I see you got your cloth right there. So tell us what you're doing with that cloth.
So make it a little like a little bundle like this, because pretty soon, once one side is cooked, you want to make sure that one side is cooked. Then you take the other side and flip it over to the other side, and want to sort of tap it slightly, just like I've seen even the tortillas. They do the same thing because that helps to make sure that it's cooked evenly. So any place that you see unevenness, that is what you need to have ready to go. So for example, right here, that's my little, and this shows like your bread is ready to be flipped when it can move around.
And I am going to get a container ready. Normally we would either use a basket or a ceramic dish. It's very dangerous working in our store, so things that come in. I brought home, where are we here? I brought home one of our new dishes from the West Bank. That's showing. All right, so I'm going to be using this for our roti. So it's just a lovely hand-painted dish from the West Bank. And I am going to line it.
That's the edge of it.
With a towel. All right. All right, so Yousaf,
Yes.
you're not doing anything over there with
Just
your
a second. I was just making sure it was, cooked a little bit.
all the way
So
through.
yeah, all the way through. So then you'll see I'll start, pressing it down, and that's a very important part. Give it a little tap down at the corner or the edges, and you'll see your, chapati starting to bubble up a little bit.
The roti.
Yeah, my roti.
Roti chapati. So,
Yeah.
Whoa, look at it start to pop up there.
The joke, the saying is that if your chapati starts to puff up, that means people are very hungry.
Well, I think that's fairly accurate.
Yeah.
Did you hear the kids? So every month when we do this, we have our son and our niece who are upstairs on radio silence, because they're told that if they have any questions, unless something's on fire or something's imploding, that they need to stay upstairs.
That includes 2 dogs.
With 2 dogs, one seemed to have escaped, but I do hear them circling. So it does seem like the upstairs is getting pretty hungry.
So as you can see the front, it's like just enough brown in some places, and give it again a little tap down with your cloth here.
Oh, that's Zareen. That is a great question. What is your opinion for making the roti dough in a KitchenAid with a dough hook rather than by hand? So if you're my mother-in-law, she'd be like, oh, no, no, no. If you're my mother, you'd say, hey, that does the job without all the hassle. I think the big part is if you do use the KitchenAid, you want to make certain that you don't overdo it, because I think the KitchenAid, unlike with your hand, the KitchenAid is going to move faster, so you can almost overwork it. And so maybe get it started that way and then finish it off with your hands and the oil. All right, so I am now keeping it nice and warm here.
And you can add a butter to your chapati if you want to. You don't have to, but you can add a little butter, touch of butter too.
All right, so now I got to stop you.
Yes.
You're using the two words interchangeably, chapati and roti.
Sorry, Rose.
Is that accurate or are you being inaccurate?
Well, chapati is what people normally know. Roti is the most common word that my mother or everybody will use.
All
So,
right. And Pamela, if I don't eat all the roti now, at what point should I store them?
You should be able to store it because what you do is just put a little water to it when you want to heat it up. And especially if you want to heat it in the microwave, put in a cloth like this, give a little moisture, and then just zap it for about a minute, and that would keep the roti very fresh.
But if she didn't want to make it up now, she could do like your mom does,
Yeah.
where she just puts the dough in the refrigerator. And then like tomorrow, I wouldn't keep the dough for more than a day, maybe two.
Yeah.
But you could easily like do the same thing, do all your formation when you're ready to cook it. Much like if you're making corn tortillas, you can do the same where you have your dough balls in there, but again, you don't want to keep it for too terribly long.
And meanwhile, just, give it a little check
I was
to
gonna say, go over to the chana, because I do believe what we're gonna do is, I'll switch this camera over.
Yeah, so our chanas are looking very good. I would say just let it cook on a, medium to low heat. I would, if this is the consistency you have, I would uncover it now, just so it allows a little bit moisture to evaporate also, because it won't take very long here.
Well, as I continue making the roti on this side, why don't you show us what the tori looks like?
So it really looks like, okay,
All
so I might switch between, because this is where I would do
Oh,
it.
okay, well then finish this one.
Yeah.
And then we can switch it back over here. And I'm sorry, can't you rub your tummy, pat your head? I know your mother did, as
Yeah,
she was raising
she
all
was amazing.
6,
yeah,
7.
she knew how to take care of, yeah, she had, I would say, more than 7 arms.
Yeah, I believe that. All right, so your roti is getting quite good looking.
Yes, my roti is almost getting ready to be well. Now, if you notice, that's why I quickly, wiped all the dry flour off the tawa, because otherwise it turns brown or yellow. Your bread does.
Just describe the smell, Yousaf, of, I would say, describe the smell of the chana, Lahori Channay.
Well, this is where I can smell the bay leaves. I can smell the cardamom, clove. If I close my eyes, that's what I'm getting here, the hint here.
Now, and again, Yousaf,
And the star anise even, like, you will get a hint of everything. And it depends on how every time you take a whiff.
oh, Carol, I'm sorry. We have so much here. We wish we could just drop some off someday. Someday soon, we'll soon be able to like just transport and like, I don't know, just text you maybe a dish or two of things. Give us time. A lot of what we have now used to seem like futuristic Star Trek thing, and now we're all wearing watches that we can talk into. And
Our phones are in our hands, those palms, those, the logs that Captain took.
so, all right, Yousaf, I am taking the roti off. Woo, that's hot. All right, and
Jenny,
yes, ma'am.
we haven't added cilantro yet. Have you guys
That's
added that?
That's a garnish at the end.
Oh, it's a garnish. Okay.
Yeah, once you even turn it off, then you'll put the garnish cilantro then. And
Okay,
cilantro
thank you.
just about any time.
All right, so let's move that over here, sweets. Here.
Sure.
There you go. Move that over, and we're going to show you how we will finish this and soon plate up. Now, again, as Yousaf is saying, like in his household, you would have chana for breakfast, usually without meat, maybe with like a fried egg. By dinner, it would be with meat. After school, it'd be however the roadside vendor sold it.
So in my middle to high school, it was totally vegetarian for the lunch. So
All right, so grab me a fry pan. Oh, you're
So,
throwing in your chilies.
yeah,
All right, so everyone
so-
should grab their chilies.
So just here, I am throwing in my chilies now. It's just the garnish. Turn down your stove, basically. The low to medium low, I would say. And just see what your channels look like.
Well, they look round.
Yeah. Yeah, just give it a little like, with your spatula, just give it a little stir so things sort of mix up a little bit. The chanas need to, sometimes people even crush some chanas and just give them a little, break them down so they come together nicely.
All right.
There we go. Now, we need to
Tori is underneath you.
study stuff. So
All right, we're nearing completion, folks. I know this has gone a little bit longer, but you know, you make 2 different dishes. It's hard to do it all in an hour, so thanks for staying with us. Yeah, you don't, what, you don't want to melt the tripod?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, so now what he's gonna do is to make the tori. You're adding about a 1/4 cup of oil. And you're heating that up.
Yeah.
So you have it really on high.
Well, for now, just.
Right, well,
the
sure.
beginning. Yeah, just the
Understandably.
beginning. Bit of a more, just measure it properly, so.
All right, looks like Dawn of Dawn and Judith are busy cooking up. Dawn, how's your kitchen smelling? Hold on, you are muted. There we are.
It's smelling wonderful. Oh,
That's awesome.
And Yousaf, I was just wondering, since you are from Lancaster area,
Yeah.
when are you going to do mashed potatoes, gravy, and roast beef?
Actually,
Pakistani style.
Meat and potatoes are a very traditional Pakistani dish.
Okay.
And it's called aloo gosht. And the only difference is the how we cook it. We cook them in one pot. And you actually make a lot of soup out of it because it used to make a nice amount of moisture so you can cook, you can feed the masses basically.
Okay.
As I referenced this earlier, for the last year, we have been together every Sunday online with a group of friends and family from Lahore, Pakistan, all the way through Europe to Cote d'Ivoire and up Canada and US. And we cook every Sunday at noon. And this week we made whoopie pies, which is traditional Lancaster County decadence of a certain really nice soft chocolate cookie with filling on the inside. Our son filled this. And hey, folks, I think we're missing something of this whoopie pie. Yeah, this is what happens when you let a 10-year-old fill the whoopie pies. So indeed, we do like to cook all sorts of things. So tonight will be chana
Yes.
with whoopie pies. It is a world
Yeah.
kitchen.
So do you have your oil ready? Your oil is hot. Does everybody have their oil ready and hot?
All right, we're gonna say yes.
Can I get a confirmation, please?
Everybody, yay. Oh, Judith says yes.
Yeah, okay, so then
Rebecca says yes. We're
once
good.
your oil gets like, just when it starts to, you can
Can we have the down?
see, you can see the heat coming out of the oil. Little smoke, that's when you want to turn it off. Because you want to cook your oil for just, for a little bit.
All right, so your oil's cooked.
Yeah, just
Okay.
when it starts to like simmer, then I'll turn it off.
So Melissa, the oil is for the tori. All right.
Good.
No, you don't. Did you turn it off? No, you
Uh,
still have your
yeah.
oil up.
I'm just waiting for it to start like, when it feels like it's burning, just about to burn, where smoke, some sort of smoke comes out, I'm gonna turn it off.
I bet you're a joy with like a sensitive fire.
Yeah,
aren't
exactly,
you?
yes.
All right, I think that's starting to
Adding-
smoke
Okay,
because we can't turn on the
yeah,
we can't turn on the stuff. Remember? All right.
yeah, see, that's the effect you wanna get.
All right, so your heat is now totally off.
Yes, the heat is off, but you just stir your paprika like this, and that's what's gonna go right here on top.
Now, is that as a garnish, Yousaf, or on top? Oh, it's on top of the whole thing to boodle.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go. That's the color you want. There you go. Your color is ready.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Yes, that's how it gets served.
All right, so to serve, we are going to serve up. All right, so let me just, Vanessa, could we use that camera above us here?
Just
And you're gonna,
yeah,
what are
just
you
to
doing
get
here?
the remaining.
the little bits of remaining.
It's
Oh, now that is a good trick to show them too.
Yeah.
Nothing goes to waste.
Yes.
Yeah, that was really cool. Called Tadka. Thank you.
Yes. But when it's in here, then it's called putty because it's floating on the top. That's why it's called putty.
Oh, Marcia, don't worry about being in and out. We totally understand.
But that is the
Okay.
perfect color. And
Can we serve?
yeah,
I got kids rounding up upstairs. All right, so again, don't try to work in our store and not bring home dishes. We just got these really cool square dishes that are hand painted in the West Bank, all fair trade. So actually, Yousaf, I know you're going to have an opinion. I'm only using plastic.
yes,
All right, so can you serve into this bowl and show us how you'll top it?
yes.
And then you can demonstrate the proper way of eating it.
So you put your all your chanas into it with, and you want to have a little bit of a like a leaf in there just because it adds a nice look to the presentation. And make sure you bring in some of the the 30 garnish, your green chili in there, especially if you're serving this food to people. This will be a proper look, just because it looks like you know what you're doing, and
Garnish with a little bit of chopped cilantro.
yeah, just like.
All right.
And here we go. That is.
No, you do not need to remove the cardamom pods, the bay leaves, the star anise. So any Pakistani knows that when you are cooking with those whole spices, you leave them in. And then when you're dishing that, they know to sort of work and eat around them. All right, that's gorgeous, Yousaf.
Thank you.
And why don't you, I'll pull you out down to the
move
other
that.
camera. What are you doing?
Just move
Move that.
Yes.
Well, don't move it too far because you're going to demonstrate the proper way
Yes.
of grabbing a little bit of roti.
Yes.
All right, so hold on, let me switch your camera. And thanks everybody for really being patient with us today. This has been hilarious. We've been trying to juggle a couple of our tech issues. So thank you for your patience. Yousaf,
Yes.
show me. So here.
You just need to use this.
So you remove the cardamom pods and the star. No, you don't remove anything. Is it okay to eat the cardamom pods?
Yeah, eat them.
Yeah, you certainly can. Cardamom is like a natural breath freshener. And so you can very easily just eat the whole thing. It's a little chewier, but you certainly can eat it all.
And if your beans are a little crunchy, don't worry. This will, as they sit, they'll get very soft, and it will all nicely come together.
All right, so you're going to take a little bit of your roti. All right, rip it up,
And
then show us the proper way of eating it.
So you take a
So
little.
obviously no silverware.
Yeah, no silverware. You
Awesome.
take a little piece like this, and you sort of mold it a little bit because that gives you the thickness.
So sort of like a
And-
mini scoop.
Yeah, mini scoop.
This is where Tostadas or
Yeah.
Tostitos decided how to
And
do.
basically, sorry, it's gonna be very
All right,
hot.
yeah, it is. But
So
can do it.
as you notice, my fingers are not even touching anything.
Oh, show off.
Clean hands.
Awesome. Well, I hope you all had fun today. We certainly did. And we really appreciate you all being a part of this community with us. I think over this last year, we've all known that the strength of all of us as a large world community is what is actually going to make us a much stronger world. So I hope this is just one little way of showing it. Who's hovering at our feet right now is our 17-year-old poodle. who would like.
Try making food, you know, do a presentation and not have a dog like come right next to your leg and you're like, what just happened?
So as we finish today, we are going to leave you with some of our finest and most dedicated customers. We call them the canines of Bunyaad. We hope to see you back here next month, the second Sunday of every month. Next month will be Mother's Day in the US, May 9 at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please take photos of you. Oh yes, Pamela, I need a photo of that. You eating, put them on social media, hashtag cooking with Bunyaad, so that others can see how awesome it is. Oh, I can't say goodbye before I see. I have to see everyone's dishes. Look at Colette.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
Oh, wow.
Look
That
at
looks
that.
delicious, Colette.
Oh, I see
Pamela's already enjoying hers. Yum. Oh, and look at that. Her fingers are clean
Yes.
and easy and good. Anyone else? Oh, Mary, you already have yours ready. Oh, that looks excellent. Yeah, well, I know, multitasking, holding the camera and everything.
Yeah.
I love it, Zareen. Indeed, having a 4.5-year-old who knows how to keep their hands clear and clean while they're eating are amazing. How to share photos, email them to us if you like, or send them on social media, however you like. It's just fun to be inside of your kitchens. So until next month, goodbye. And I'll leave you with the canines of Bunyaad. Hold 1 second. And are we there? There's my video. All right, everybody, until next month. Amanda says,
You guys are the best.
oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome to be with you all.
Are you coming out my way in San Francisco?
Whoa, not quite all the way up to San Francisco. I know. We were in Fresno last year. We hope to be in Fresno next year.
Okay.
But you can always go online and see all of our rugs at www.bunyaad.com. And you'll even see Amanda and the recommendation she has, just in case you ever pee or poo
And
on fair trade carpets.
And we can ship a selection of rug that you want, you can have them shipped to your house. So this way you can look at them and then make a choice before
Yeah.
purchasing.
Okay. And I want to see your mother cooking.
I will be emailing you all that. It is priceless. Now, you cannot say that Yousaf looks so much younger in that video because it was, well, let's just say we didn't think it was that long ago until we realized our 10-year-old was still sucking his finger and in cutie little stripy pajamas. So it was a couple years ago.
Yeah, you should bring your 10-year-old son on sometime.
We will be doing that. I think for
Oh,
Mother's
good.
Day, we're going to be involving the kids because, why should we be doing all the cooking? So I think next month they're going to help out. Just,
Oh, good.
sometimes the side discussion when you have a 10-year-old on camera sometimes can be hilarious.
Yeah. He doesn't want to be there.
He loves it, but I have to say the whoopie pies were a big hit with him this.
Oh, good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
See you next month.
See you next month. Khudafis.